I've been extremely well served, and when I'm traveling in the world, I'll always say that Canada is the best public service that you can see anywhere.
Tonight, I want to talk about the public service. Media coverage to the contrary, we do have a solid professional public service in Canada, but it can't be taken for granted. It must be worked at and supported. The essential role of the civil service is to provide professional, objective advice to the government, especially when it may not be wanted, and to competently implement government decisions. Professionalism and objectivity are important so that politicians receive advice from a civil service centered on the public interest, not on winning the next election.
First-rate public service is something we should all care about. That we will pay a price as a nation if the best and the brightest of our young people are not attracted to the public service. That an effective public service is vital not only to dispense government services at a reasonable price, but to help evolve and implement the policies that shape the way we live, that define us as a nation, and that determine how well we compete in the global economy.
I think I've recognized something that everybody in public life would recognize, that the quality of public policy and the quality of government is always directly proportional to the quality of public service advice that one is able to access. And in this country, we are very, very fortunate to have quite literally the best public service available to serve policymakers, public policymakers, anywhere in the world today.
And the prosperity generated when a vibrant private sector can count on a modern and efficient public administration. It is vital, it's important, and it is exciting. What the Public Policy Forum recognizes is the fact that public service is, on the contrary, a high calling.
Good government is a partnership between inspired political leaders and a public service that offers inspired advice to help the people we elect succeed in doing what we elected them to do. This recipe has nothing to do with the size of government. It's about quality and competence.
And I certainly embrace Nadira's statement that good government is a partnership between inspired political leaders and a public service that can offer inspired advice to those elected.
Appropriate public policy is an essential ingredient to good governance, as has been said, and an essential ingredient to a vibrant, healthy democracy.
Public servants need our support if they are to show themselves worthy of their calling and do what's right rather than just what is safe. But in this area, as in most others, expectations of high standards of excellence and integrity need to be tempered by a measure, just a measure, of tolerance for human fallibility.
As we prepare to embark on the 21st century, there is more and more recognition, and you are living proof of that here tonight, demonstrating the necessity of a closer rapprochement between the public service and the private sector as the role of government changes dramatically. It is true. It takes people to run government, inevitably a lot of people. And to do the job well requires professionalism, impartiality, strong ethical standard, and a commitment to public service.
Often been asked to describe the differences between the position of Deputy Minister and the CEO, for example, of a large corporation. Well, both of them have tough jobs. Indeed, there are many other similarities. Both must manage very sophisticated operations to the benefit of shareholders, stakeholders, if you like. Both must inspire employees, meet their budget, deliver on their business plan. But there, the similarity ends. To start with, the CEO actually knows who he's responsible to, the board of directors. The Deputy Minister must figure that out. He's got to figure out, since he's appointed by the Prime Minister, works for a minister, and is accountable to the clerk, who he works for. The Deputy Minister must publicly defend his expense account, often posted online. I must comply with the restrictions of the Privacy Commissioner, live by the very tough rules of the Integrity Commissioner, respect the extraordinarily wide-ranging rules of the Right to Information Act, which means that everything that you do in a fishbowl. He must ensure that the provisions of the Official Languages Act are respected. He must lead a workforce that is largely, if not entirely, unionized. He must be prepared to work with the political ideology of the party in power. He must balance the political interest of the minister and his political staff with his professional obligations to the Crown. He must be prepared to be second-guessed and possibly, in fact usually, publicly embarrassed by the Auditor General. He must be prepared to testify before parliamentary committees, often in a very unflattering way. He must submit to being pressured and second-guessed by Cabinet and by caucus. He must resist the blandishments of lobbyists and interest groups. He must suffer the criticism of the opposition, the press, and the public. He must be effectively frozen from working for years after he leaves public office, and all for a fraction of the compensation that a private sector employees pay. Other than that, the jobs are almost identical.
In my day, brilliant public servants like Derek Burney and Paul Tellier and Marc Lortie and Paul Heindecker and Bob Fowler and countless others from the public service answered the same call. As Prime Minister of Canada for 9 years, I benefited directly and daily, as did my government, from their remarkable talents. But much more importantly, Canada benefited every day that they held office in the public service of Canada.